Hey guys, it's Devin from Prepping to Survive. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to build a compost tumbler like this. Mostly because of everything going on in the world, I thought it was a good topic to build one that's reliable and cheap. Stick around to the end and I'm going to break down the total cost to build this compost tumbler with a detailed price for every individual piece and all the material. Without further ado, let's get started. You guys are going to need a cordless drill, some gloves to protect your hands, 4 wheels to mount the compost bin on, some drill bits, some wood screws, a hex drill bit to mount or to drill in, a self-tapping drill bit if you want the wood screws to be recessed, 2 2.5 barrel bolts, triangular square, removable hinges. These ones are 2 inches, angular saw, a circular saw, and then a wood hacksaw if you guys run out of batteries. Also, you guys are going to need compost bin. It's a 55 gallon, 2 2x10s. There's 4 of them there, but you need 2 of them, and then 2 2x4s. So the next step is going to be the compost lid. I'm going to use 11 inches across, 10 inches wide. I'm going to cut the 2 sides and then the front. I'm going to leave the very back still attached, and I'm going to mark out where my hinges are going to go to open the lid. And then I'm going to do 2 bolts on the very front of it. For the side, I'm going to use these 2 existing holes as an airway. Then I'm going to cut another piece on the side. I'm going to use just a tin can of coffee beans over here, and I'm going to use this for the other air hole. One of the main things for composting is you need a lot of air. You need air for heat, air for composting in general. I ended up using an angle grinder to cut through the compost bin, and then I used a Sawzall to cut a straight line. The reason for this was the angle grinder, it ended up burning or melting some of the plastic. So I just found a cleaner cut with the Sawzall at the very end. With that said, let's go cut out the lid. With the lid cut out, the next step will be drilling holes for the hinges and putting bolts in to hold everything together. After you have the lid attached to the compost bin, the next step will be marking and drilling out for the barrel bolts. Make sure that the piece that's on the compost bin and the piece on the lid are aligned properly before you end up drilling everything out. This is pretty crucial because when you spin the compost tumbler, it needs to hold everything securely so no compost falls out. With the compost lid complete, the next step is measuring and cutting the wood pieces for where the wheels mount. For the 2x10s, mark 2 pieces, 35 inches long, which is the height of the 55 gallon drum. For the 2x4s, you want to mark them 18.5 inches long on both pieces. That is the full length of the 2x10s put together. The full length of the compost bin is 35 inches long, but for these 2 wheel spacings, we're going to need to have them moved in. If you measure 4 inches on both ends of the 2x10s, that'll give you exactly 27 inches apart. So the next step is to measure how far apart you want both wheels to be separated. So all I did was measure across the compost bin, divided it in half, and then added 1.5 inches on both sides. That gave me 13.5 inches apart. With adding an additional 1.5 inches on both sides, that gives the compost tumbler more support when it spins, kind of like how a race car has wider tires for better handling, kind of like the compost tumbler. At this point, I wanted to see how well the compost tumbler worked and how well it spun. For these 1/8 holes, what I did was I put them 5 inches apart, going this way and going this way. So it's almost like a 5-inch square. I didn't measure. You can use a ruler if you want to, but if you have a somewhat good eye, you can just drill in a straight line as you go and space them out pretty much evenly. So I did that all the way around the compost tumbler, and I did a little bit different spacing around the lid, but not so much, just a couple less holes. For most of the compost mix, I found it on either Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or Kijiji. This here is some rabbit hay and some rabbit poop, which is really good for the browns. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys have any questions on how I built this compost tumbler, leave a comment below and I will answer them as much as I can. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you in the next video.